It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Yay. We're here.
Hurrah.
Hurrah.
We're doing this thing.
We're doing this thing. Yeah.
It's been a rough week, hasn't it, guys?
It's been kind of a rough week. We're recording a little bit later in the week than we normally do. So yeah, we're kind of a little out of it right now. So please bear with us. But I hope y'all are doing okay. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Well, I'll go. Today was my new comic book day. Yay! It was really sweet, though, because they included some of the free comic books that were supposed to come out. Mm-hmm. So I did get a few of those and a pretty cool little poster that, well, it's not a poster. It's an 8x10 that DC Connect is doing, I guess, their previews kind of thing. You check off what you want and you mail it back in, or send it to your, whatever. You give it to your guy. So, but the cover was pretty cool, so I may actually keep that. But, yeah, not a whole lot going on in my little corner. I've been doing nothing. I was trying to think. Oh, I did want to say, I don't know if they're called podcasts or not when they're on YouTube. But
some of them are.
Some of them are.
Yeah.
There's a girl I watch that I've gotten really interested into, and her name's Bailey Sarin. And it's like a true crime podcast, I guess. But, you know, it might be a little different for guys because while she's telling you the story, she's like putting her makeup on. And, I mean, she's beautiful, and the look she comes up with is just great. But some of the stories are just amazing. I mean, some of them I've heard of before, and she really does her research for these, so she kind of gives you a little bit more that's not commonly known, I guess. But she had did a podcast or whatever. She did a show, and she was talking about this guy who had basically he murdered his family. He blew them up, is what he did. And this happened back in 86, and they weren't able to catch, who did this. They didn't know it was him or anything else. But it was kind of cool because on her show, she was like, man, the only one who walked away from this was the dad, whose name was Leonard. Well, the other day I open up Twitter, and I see her post, and she's like, guys, it's fucking Leonard. And, of course, they've got Leonard in handcuffs, and sure enough, he was the guy who blew his family up. So it was kind of cool because she called it. She flat out, here's the facts that we have, and flat out called the guy. So if you're into that kind of mystery, she's talked about Dahmer before. She's done the cam girl murders, all kinds of stuff. So if you're in that kind of stuff, she's pretty well versed in that, like I said, she had talked about Dahmer, and she had presented a couple of things that the media doesn't tell you, so it was kind of interesting, and I always learn something. So if you're into that kind of thing, like I said, definitely check her out. She just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger every day. So it's nice to see good things happen to good people. So Bailey Sarin, she's on YouTube. And even if you're not into makeup, because before that's how she got into this. She did like looks and stuff, for YouTube and stuff. But It's basically now just a crime show. So pretty cool. Worth checking out.
Well, and given the sheer volume of true crime podcasts out there, people are obviously interested. So, hey,
Yeah.
Right.
that's cool.
And for her, it's something different too. Because like I said, I'm, other than comics, I'm into makeup. So it's kind of like two worlds touching. So it's cool.
That is cool.
Neat.
Yeah.
I said I'll pass you guys her link.
See, it's fun finding new shows, huh?
It is. And, I found her totally by accident, probably a couple of months ago. Drama erupted in the beauty community. Oh, no. But they threw up her as a recommendation, I guess, after some of the videos I had watched. And it was kind of like, what is this? And it's cool because it's not drama. She doesn't get into that kind of stuff. This is all crimes, not tea.
You say that. But honestly, I'm not going that direction. The crime thing, there's a lot of drama in a lot of that stuff. And, I mean, way more than you'd think sometimes. It can get really wild.
Huh.
It can get really wild. I mean, just honestly, in the crimes themselves, there's often just tons of drama built into that. That's why that shit goes over so well on TV, honestly.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
because it's dramatic by nature.
And I'm a drama junkie. I'll be the first to admit it. I like drama. I don't like being in drama, but I like
A lot of people don't.
Right.
I like to watch,
A lot of people like to watch it, and a lot of people like to cause it without being in the middle of it, too. But
Yeah.
that's a different
True.
show.
Yeah. And I've known quite a few people like that, too. But, yeah. So sometimes it's interesting, and then sometimes it's like, wow, this is a train wreck. Jeffree Star.
Yet you can't look away.
You can't. I still follow him on Twitter because I want to see what comes next. I don't even like the guy, but I want to see what the hell he does next. Which, actually, if you stop and think about it, I'm part of the problem.
Oh, yeah.
If I didn't give him the attention, then not just me, but
Oh, you
Yeah.
and however many other thousands of people,
Millions.
or maybe millions even, I don't know,
yeah,
follow him and
millions.
poke the bear, and yeah, absolutely.
So, like I said, sometimes it's interesting, and then sometimes it's like, oh, this needs to go through the cops, not through Twitter, guys.
Mhm. How often that becomes true, but anyway.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, my week has not been anywhere near that exciting. I'm just trying to watch stuff, just trying to watch movies and stuff mostly for like homework for future episodes. But we've got a bunch of stuff to watch over the next, what month is it? 3 months. Yeah, 3 months. So I'll probably mention that a lot over the next 3 months. But I did also manage to find a little bit of time to watch one of the classic albums things that Les was talking about last week. I watched the one on Steely Dan's Asia album.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those guys are interesting. I mean, they are not your typical rock and rollers by a long shot, and so that makes it kind of interesting just on the surface. And then to hear them go into some pretty hardcore detail about the songs on that album, it's interesting. I mean, honestly, whether you like the band or not, it's still interesting to watch. If you have any interest in music of any kind, it's a different perspective than you get normally in something like that, and it's certainly a different perspective than you get just listening to the music. So it's fun, definitely worth checking out. And they've got, like Les mentioned last week, there are a bajillion of them on Amazon Prime. A whole lot of different albums, a whole lot of different genres, a lot of cool stuff.
Cool.
Very nice.
Yeah, it is fun to delve into it and find something you haven't heard for a long time, yet you can track it on Prime and get a lot of the background as to what's going on, and it opens your eyes. So you think, oh yeah, I know all about that album. They go, no, you don't.
Yeah, you probably don't.
Very cool.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, for me, I did a little investigation too on film, and I came across a documentary called, let's see if I can get this right, Special When Lit. Special When Lit deals with pinball machines.
Cool.
Pinball machines, this was on Amazon Prime, and when pinball machines started, that was in 1931, the main manufacturing group were located in Chicago. When pinball machines were made, they were banned in the U.S. immediately because people thought it was a game of chance rather than skill.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Too close to gambling.
Yep.
Yes. And it was in the 70s that it was determined that it was a game of skill rather than chance, and the ban was lifted. Now, that didn't mean that pinball machines didn't exist in bars or places like that, but arcades were, in the U.S., were not around, really. But there were like 5 or 6 manufacturers of pinball machines, and some of them, Bally, Gottlieb, and some others. But now there is one. There's one manufacturer of pinball machines. And we're not talking about electronic. We're talking flippers and steel ball and loud noises, things like that. And to me, it was fascinating to have them talk to the creators of the pinball machines at this location, and to find out that there's like a mile of wiring in one of those machines. And they had a list of like how many sensors and all this, and it was just great to see this. They also talked to owners of pinball machines, and I think one guy had like 1,600 pinball machines.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some hardcore collectors out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now I am wanting to find I'm sure there is a book out there with the art of pinball machines, because that is where to me, it's really fascinating to see these designs and the photorealistic pictures. Some of them are pretty goofy, but the artwork is pretty spectacular as to what they do. And I'm going to say I think it's like 90 minutes long, and it's well worth the time just to sit back, enjoy this. And I'm in the middle of this at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm ready to go find a pinball machine. I'm ready to go play.
Mm-hmm.
It's addictive just to sit and watch this, and I know how addictive it can be by playing it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to track down some info and start playing as much as I can.
I now wonder if there's anybody on Twitch playing pinball.
Thomas.
I wouldn't expect him to know that off the top of his head. We'd have to look it up. But
Yeah.
it just makes me wonder.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
My sister has a couple of pinball machines. I think the last one she got was Journey.
Ooh.
Well, I have a Japanese pinball machine, a pachinko, but it needs work.
Yeah. Those actually get pretty pricey, though. I had one, and the kids stole all the little metal balls out of there.
What the hell?
Right? Damn kids. So, they weren't great in a slingshot.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I had those kind of kids.
Yowie. Replaced a lot of windows in your house, did you?
Yeah. Between Phil and the kids, yeah. We had a huge iguana cage outside. It was about 10 foot tall by about 5 feet wide, and it went around a tree, right? Well, he made it all out of plexiglass, and he was sitting there, and he was, tapping the, with the slingshot, was sitting there tapping the end of the cage, and I told him, I said, you're going to break that. And he looks at me and he says, it's tempered glass. It's not going to break. And I said, no, it just means it's not going to shatter. It's still going to break. And he says, you know what? I have more faith in that glass than I do in our marriage. And I said, okay, whatever. Well, my mom shows up at the same time, and I go walking around the side of the house, and the next thing I hear is just this. My mom said, oh, my God, what was that? And I said, well, I think my marriage just shattered. And he did. He broke that cage. It went everywhere. We lost the iguanas.
Wow.
Plinko balls, yeah.
Then you're still married to this guy.
Right.
That's perseverance.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I bet that day he found a whole new faith in his marriage, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. And I told him, yeah. Mm-hmm. He's learned not to make such stupid remarks like that,
We all
I
do
lasted
eventually.
longer than that glass did.
Well, he wasn't
So
exactly
he needs-
hitting you with the slingshot either, but,
True.
So he needs to temper his statements, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, well, since y'all asked, there is a category called pinball on Twitch, and there are currently 7 channels going.
Just randomly right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I am watching one guy right now playing a Jurassic Park pinball machine.
There you go, Les. You wanted an excuse to get on Twitch.
Yeah, that was it.
I mean, he's got it set up nice because it's. I mean, you're seeing him play, and there's one camera of him showing him play. There's one camera of the video that's being shown on the game, and then there's one overhead so you can see the ball.
Nice.
So he's got it set up. He thought it out, and it did a great job. So yeah.
Cool.
It's cool.
So yeah, I just typed in pinball, and it was like there's a category.
Wow.
Awesome.
So go check it out, Les.
Good night, everybody.
He's going to go chase a rabbit down a hole.
That's it.
You mean a wabbit? A wabbit.
We'll get there. No foreshadowing.
For me, kind of not much not going on. Well, not much not much fun going on. I'll just say that much. About the closest thing I had fun was, of course, I've been messing around with our Discord. Hey, we need to talk about our Discord. We have one.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all may not have caught that on the previous episodes, but yes, we do have a Discord. If you go to our website, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, right there on the front page, there's a big-ass image saying join our Discord. Just click on that if you're interested in joining. Got a lot of fun stuff up there. We post articles on stuff that's going on in the comics industry, movies, streaming, a lot of other stuff, posting memes. If you want to talk to us about our episodes, kind of feedback, you can post there. You have questions you want us to answer on a future episode of Ask the Fellowship, which we will have one coming in the not too distant future. Thanks to the fine folks who have already joined our Discord, we've got a number of questions there. You can do that. Just a lot of good stuff. So definitely join us there. What we're talking about doing, since our meet and gabs are kind of on hold due to the current COVID situation, we may do a virtual meet and gab. We do have a voice channel where everybody can join in, and we can just be able to talk there, have fun. We're still working out the details of when to do that and whatever else. So definitely come join us. It's been fun so far.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
This is the part where y'all are supposed to be backing me up.
We are.
I was muted. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and it's been really nice to be able to chit-chat with some of you guys. But speaking of Discord, if I'm ever talking to somebody and I just disappear, I watch a baby during the day, so it's kind of hit and miss when I'm on there. So
That's understandable.
I'm not just walking away from the conversation, but,
Well, that's kind of the fun thing about it, is you can come back a couple hours later and
well, you do, and it's
right
like,
back up. Yeah.
One conversation we were having, I tried to go back to, and it was like, so it
was so
topic
far
had
gone.
changed so many times. That was like cool.
I mean, that's really only kind of negative about that, because a couple years back, I had talked to Mike about trying to set up and I even did it at one point, of a message board, where we would kind of set things, and of course, I'm sure everybody listening is familiar with the message board, where you can have the topics, and then you can respond accordingly to whatever's being discussed there. That's one thing I don't particularly care about Discord, but that's kind of a minor thing, because I am enjoying it. So
Me too.
Yeah.
So please come join us. It doesn't, you can just use the web version. We highly recommend that you would actually download the app and use it on your computer or your phone. It seems to work better that way. But come join us. It's been a blast so far. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Alrighty. We kind of hinted at it a while ago, just a couple of minutes ago. This year marks the 80th anniversary of the first
official, I guess.
Official appearance of Bugs Bunny in a Looney Tunes cartoon. It was called A Wild Hare, and I believe it was released, according to this, it was July 27th. So we thought we would kind of spend some time and talk about the character of Bugs Bunny and his lasting impact, and maybe just some favorite memories involving Bugs and friends. So with that said, I am going to step back, and who would like to go first?
I have just one little correction.
Okay.
The first time that he made his first appearance was actually in April 30th, 1938.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a wild hair. But 2 years later, they redid the cartoon. And if you watch the original, now the one that they're counting the first appearance, it's him and Elmer Fudd. In the very original black and white one, it was him and Porky Pig. Porky Pig was the hunter. So that was kind of neat. But also, when he made his first appearance, he was a white rabbit. So it's kind of neat to see how Bugs Bunny has evolved over the years. A while back, I'm going to say about 20 years ago, Cartoon Network came out. And late at night, you could watch what they called black and white. And black and white would take the original cartoon, and then they would play, right after, back to back, they would play how Looney Tunes, Warner Brothers, whatever, had kind of changed it up, kind of cleaned it up a little bit and everything else. And it was still the same story, but it was just more... fit the story more. Like Elmer Fudd, he was the hunter. It made more sense to have him go after Bugs Bunny than it did for Porky Pig. Why is a pig hunting a rabbit? But it's kind of cool. When I first started researching this, there's a picture that shows when he first came out to how far Bugs Bunny has gone to today, Looney Tunes has just released on Cartoon Network, has just released a new version of Looney Tunes. If you haven't seen it, little different than the normal Looney Tunes. And have you guys seen the new Scooby-Doo? I forget what they're calling it, but it's Scooby, but the animation's a little different and it's a little bit more kooky, I guess you could say. That's kind of the same tone they've taken with the new Looney Tunes show. It's kind of kooky, but I like it. I've always liked Looney Tunes. 90% of the time you can walk into my house and it's playing somewhere. It's good fun, It's kind of crazy how Bugs Bunny, being not the first character of Looney Tunes, I can't remember which one is, but he's the most iconic. He's become like the mascot for them. So pretty cool. Probably didn't count on that. Also, though, if you watch the black and white version of the first appearance, the laugh that he has is exactly the same laugh that Woody Woodpecker does. How many times have you heard Bugs Bunny with a Woody Woodpecker laugh? So, kind of crazy. You really have to see that first one. It was wild. You could tell that some of the same voices later on went and did other cartoons and everything else too. Tex Avery, master at his craft. He came up with a lot of the firsts, so definitely had a good crew. It's no wonder, Looney Tunes is still around because they just did it so well when it first started. I would say that Bugs Bunny is for Looney Tunes what Mickey Mouse is for Disney. I mean, am I wrong? You think Looney Tunes, what's the first character that pops in your head?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I think the fun of the Warner Brothers cartoons as opposed to the Disney stuff is that the Looney Tunes had more characters that they could go to.
Mm-hmm.
They had more leading characters than Disney ever really did. I mean, it wasn't just a Mickey Mouse thing. It was, I mean, you had Bugs, and you had Porky, and you had Daffy, and the list can go on and on.
Yeah.
But they had a bunch of different, I mean, later on you get Roadrunner and the Coyote, and you get
Yeah.
Tweety Bird and Sylvester.
and you get into stuff like Speedy
Foghorn
Gonzalez and
Foghorn Leghorn.
I mean, it's a huge list, and I think that's as much why Looney Tunes has endured as well as it has.
Yeah.
Is that there's such a wide array of different type of stuff, and it's all fun and crazy and madcap and great.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't hurt that. I mean, there's a lot of great artistry put into those things.
Well, and I think part of the main success, too, was they didn't stick with the formula. Bugs Bunny wasn't always going to be with Elmer Fudd. Bugs Bunny could be with Daffy Duck. Bugs Bunny could be with Porky Pig. He could be with Tweety Bird if he wanted. You know, they weren't afraid to do crossovers without it being a big event. You know, it was just the way it was. Sometimes he'd be with this guy, or sometimes he'd be with this guy, you know.
Yeah, one of my favorite crossovers was when he filled in for Roadrunner. And so it was Wile E. Coyote versus Bugs Bunny. That was awesome.
Yeah. It was just normal. It wasn't a tune-in Saturday kind of thing, you know. It was just, hey, this is the way it is. This is what we wanted to do today, you know.
Right. And because that's not how they did them back then. They were attached. They were played in movie theaters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to grown-up audiences. This is something that I don't know where that got lost, but people tend to forget. I mean, you think cartoons, you think kids, because we all watched them on Saturday mornings when we were kids. Well, 80 years ago, that's not where there was no TV back then.
No.
They were shown before and after movies. And they weren't kids' movies. They were showing them before and after. They were adult movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you get some pretty racy shit going on in these things.
You can.
And that's why they got edited to hell and back in the 50s and 60s, is because that's when they started trying to put them on TV. And I guess that's when they decided that these things were for children. And I don't know about all that.
Yeah.
I mean, you get both Bugs and Elmer in drag way too often for these to be for kids. I mean, come on.
Right.
I wonder if you think about it, Bugs Bunny was the first one to do that. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't a, taboo, you know, it's just Bugs Bunny in drag. So it was cool.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's one of my favorite episodes is kill the rabbit. And half the episode, he's dressed as a girl, you know.
Okay, in all fairness, that was one that actually won an Academy Award, so it's a lot of people's favorite.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
You're talking about What's Opera Doc. I mean, that's the one that everybody knows the name of. I mean, let's be realistic here.
And I also like the one where Bugs Bunny fucks with Daffy. He's the artist, and he keeps erasing him.
That's
making him the screwball. And
Yep.
That one was awesome.
Uh-huh. Talk about your fourth wall breaking right there.
Yeah.
That's some meta shit going on right there.
Yep.
That's an awesome one.
Mm-hmm.
Les?
I have a question. If I remember, the version with Porky Pig, the character was named like Funny Bunny.
I think it was something like that.
Bugs Bunny.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bugs didn't come along till a little later.
Yeah, that was his original first name, was Funny Bunny.
Yeah, and watching it, and you can see these on YouTube. So take your time and watch them, because they are great items. This was a creation that still endures, obviously, that's already been said. But they have also entered so many new characters. One of my favorite characters for Warner Brothers is Gossamer.
Yes.
I love Gossamer. And he is just there for a very short while. But to me, without saying a word, he is one of the funniest characters.
See, in the newer show, he's a kid. And remember the witch?
Yeah.
It's
Witch
like,
Hazel? Yep.
Yeah, it's her son. Is
Oh,
Gossamer.
really?
So, yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. That's not the newest Looney Tunes, but the one before this one.
Right.
Like I said, they just this year released a new Looney Tunes. And then HBO Max has gotten a hold of Looney Tunes. Ugh. Man. I won't get on my soapbox too hard, but
Too late.
She's going to do it.
you know, comic books, cartoons, all of this stuff, it's art. It may not be like serious kind of, Picasso kind of stuff or anything else, but it's art. Especially when we don't have these greats who produce these pieces anymore. They're no longer with us. So for me, these are the classics. They should not be touched. They should not be messed with. This is the footprint of cartoons and how we got to where we are today. Looney Tunes was a very, very big part of that. So for HBO Max now to come along and to, we don't like Elmer Fudd with a gun. What? He's a hunter. What is he? What are you going to give him? He's a hunter. They've gone back to some different changes. A couple of the ones where they get drunk. Yes, I know kids are watching this and everything else, but like Mikey had mentioned before, these weren't made for kids. Kids don't understand that he's drunk. Falls into a pickle barrel and he gets out and he's kind of, kids don't see that as he's drunk, So I think they should have left it alone. They should have not remastered. I think anytime you go in and start messing with the classics, you take something away from that. And I really wish they wouldn't have done that. There's so many reboots off of Looney Tunes. I was just telling you guys about 3 that Cartoon Network has done. Why could they have not have taken that route instead of changing the classics to suit their...
That is something that's been going on for years, because I remember back before the main networks stopped showing cartoons on Saturday mornings, because now all they do is the educational informational programming, which is all well and good. That's fine. I don't have a problem with it. That's great.
Yeah.
But I remember back when I don't know, it was called Bugs and Roadrunner Hour or something like that. It was on ABC.
Mm-hmm.
I remember catching one of my favorite episodes, or one of the favorite shorts is the one where Bugs and Daffy are arguing on what season it is and confusing the hell out of Elmer.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they edit out all the times Elmer shot Daffy. So all you get is them arguing, and somehow it's got to the point where Daffy says, "Okay, it's duck season," and fire. And you don't see the shot, you just see the results. You'll see like maybe a cloud of smoke and what's ever happened to Daffy's face.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, okay. I mean, why even show this?
Right. Just don't show it.
Yeah.
Because you're essentially killing the joke.
Big time.
Because that was the whole joke, is that Daffy got so confused and blurted out that basically shoot me.
Yeah, it's duck season.
He doesn't have to shoot me now.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, he does have to shoot me now.
Me now.
Pronoun trouble. All right.
Yeah.
Now I see what's going on here.
Yeah. Shoot him when you get home.
Yeah, shoot me when you get home.
Yeah.
And then walking arm in arm with him all the way to
Go
his
home.
house. I walk in, I close the door. 1, 2, 3, blam!
And then he walks back with his bill behind his head, and then adjusts it, and with this look of utter disdain at Bugs, going, "You're despicable." I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah, it's a classic, you know. Now, how many of you ever watched that and went, "Oh, poor Duck, he got shot with a gun. Oh my God." I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it wasn't traumatic. It was a cartoon. Daffy lived another day. I mean,
Daffy was fine
all cool.
5 seconds later after the next cut. I mean, come on. That's the whole deal. It's cartoon. That's the way that's how they get away. That's how they got away with it then.
Yeah.
It's just a question of it not being the current cultural sensibilities not quite the same now. And you know what? That's fine. Make something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then don't
You know,
say
I
things.
understand that
Right.
too, but all these new cartoons that are coming out, it's, you know, chasing down this guy, and I mean, there's violence in cartoons.
Yeah.
There's always going to be violence in cartoons, you know. There's...
Wait. You telling me there's violence in Puppy Dog Pals? Come on now.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, Rolly takes his stick, man. But you know what I'm saying, you know. The good cartoons have the violence. You know.
That's how we're judging it now. Okay.
Right, the good ones.
The ones that the grown-up is interested in, sure.
Right. Not Disney.
No.
But, yeah, I
You
mean,
can have
it's...
stuff aimed at kids, but it...
And I understand, you know, they're like, well, we don't want kids to think that it's for play. Okay, so you edit your cartoon, and now they've got 50 other shows that have got it in there too. You know what I'm saying? To me, it was pointless. It was pointless. HBO, even as a kid, HBO has always been an adult channel, right?
Always.
I mean, always. So why are you dumbing down the cartoon for adults? I know not to stick a gun in somebody's face. You know, I know that a rifle, you can't tie it into a bow. I mean, you know, I know these things.
You say that, but didn't HBO buy Sesame Street a few years ago?
Yeah.
So they're trying to clean up their image a little bit and trying to appeal to a younger audience, I think. But I'm not sure modifying existing material to do that is the way to go.
Right.
That's a weird artistic choice.
And kind of like Cartoon Network, the way they handle it. During the day, it's Cartoon Network. It's Scooby-Doo, it's Powerpuff Girls, it's all the cutesy stuff. At night, I guess it's at 8 o'clock, it turns into Adult Swim. It's all the adult cartoons. It's Robot Chicken and, you know, the Boondocks and all of those cartoons that are meant for adults. At HBO, almost the same thing. During the day, you can watch Batman and Spider-Man. At 8 o'clock at night, that's when it turns into Debbie Does Dallas. And you know what I'm saying?
What?
I need to start watching this.
You got to stay up past 8.
That's the hard part right there. Jeez.
So it's
No
kind
pun
of like
intended, I hope.
Damn, man. Ouch.
I don't know what to say after that. For once,
Les
Liz
broke
is
the
speechless.
podcast.
Good night, everybody. See you next week.
That's all, folks.
Oh, nice one, Les.
But I think that with their streaming services, though, maybe you should just make an HBO for kids. There is a channel on my cable for kids. It's all kid shows, all cartoons, you know, the whole thing. It is an HBO channel. There will never be anything over PG-13 on there. Why can't you do the same thing with your streaming service? Or how about this little fact? Why don't you let parents be parents and put a child block on content they don't want their children to see? Why is it now up to someone who doesn't know my kid?
This is a whole different episode.
Right, but you see what I'm saying. I don't think they should have changed the classics.
Yeah, well, I was about to say something similar. I was going to say what you do is, and I hate this. I hate the fact that I'm saying this, but I'm picking the lesser of the two evils. Is that you TV rate them? So this particular short of them, if you think this is so horrible that little Billy, or little 5-year-old Billy, or little 7-year-old Susie shouldn't be watching this, then you make it teen or preteen or whatever like that.
Yeah.
And you keep the short the way it was originally created.
Yep.
Just do that.
Yep.
I mean, you have a good idea as well, but they're not going to do that.
All right.
No.
At the risk of shutting this down, we all know damn well why they do it.
Right.
And it's because they want to be able to sell it to as many people as they can.
Yep.
That's the deal. That's all it ever is. That's all it ever was. That's all it ever will be, probably.
Will be. Yep.
It's all about selling it.
But don't you kind of feel bad for the kids who will never understand that joke now? You know, that's a classic. That's almost like Who's on First. You know, it's a classic.
Well,
you know?
See, but that's where it becomes, and this is where we jump into that other different episode. This is where it becomes my job as a parent to, since I have 6 volumes of Golden collections of all the Looney Tunes stuff, it's my job to introduce this stuff to my kid.
Yeah.
As a parent. And it's my job to do so in a responsible manner, whether I'm capable of doing so or not. That's kind of not Warner Brothers' problem. But
right.
That's on me. And I accept that responsibility, whereas we all know that 80% of the population does not. But
they don't.
That's because humanity sucks. And
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it and be done with it. And there you go. I mean, that's the deal.
Preach it, Brother Mike. Yeah. It's true.
I mean, Bugs Bunny's awesome, and that's what we're here to talk about. And,
yep.
And yes, people have tried to screw it up many times over the years, and the old cartoons are still awesome, and we love them.
Yeah.
And that's not going to change. And hopefully hopefully enough of us have enough sense to introduce our kids to them well enough that they'll love them too. And we can keep them going that way.
Because they're timeless.
Right. Well, and part of the timelessness of them is that they are a product of their time.
Yeah.
And that's fine too. And honestly, and they'll admit there are problems with that. There are things. I mean, some of these things were made during the Second World War.
Yeah.
And they get a little racist at times because that was a big part of our reaction as a society to that stuff, to what was going on in the world. And I mean, damn it, if that doesn't resonate today, I don't know what the hell's going on in the world.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's not that different. I mean, which is a damn shame, honestly, because this was 70, 80 years ago, and clearly we haven't changed enough.
No.
But anyway, again, I'm getting too political, or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know. It's not even political. It's more psychological. But, yeah, I mean, the deal is there's some really great stuff in these cartoons. And
there is.
I mean, one of the things that's been funny about us having to keep postponing this recording is that it keeps giving me more of a chance to watch more of these cartoons.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've gotten to watch a couple dozen of them over the last few nights. And it's been awesome. I have enjoyed every minute of it.
Monday, all day Monday, Cartoon Network played Bugs Bunny for his birthday.
Awesome.
So that was pretty cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
For those of us who have Cartoon Network. But like I said,
when I
got
picked my
several
cable
DVDs.
package out, I
You
told
made damn
them,
sure.
"Yep, which package has Cartoon Network in it?" And they're like, "Oh, you have kids," and it's like, yeah, sure,
Yeah,
I'll go with that.
that's it.
That sounds good enough. Yeah. Absolutely.
One of the weirdest episodes that I have seen of Looney Tunes, and it didn't really become weird until after September 11th. A dog. He lived in New York, and he's going to go live in the country. So he gets a cab, takes it out there, and he runs across Porky Pig, and he's trying to convince him, "Hey, I'm going to be a good dog for you." Well, Porky Pig, of course, isn't having it, and he keeps pushing him off, and he's like, "Oh, I need the country air and everything else." And, Porky's like, "No, leave me alone." Well, then he starts going into what it's like to live in New York, the smog, and he's like, the towers, they're falling. And it's kind of one of those creepy moments, because you're like, damn,
Right, because that was made like 50 years before.
Way before, yeah.
I mean, hell, honestly, I'm not sure the World Trade Center had been built at that point when that was made. I'd have to look at dates, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, it was a color cartoon, so I think they had been. Probably.
They were making color cartoons in 1940. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I was thinking that the World Trade Center wasn't built until the 50s or 60s, but I'm not sure about that.
Trade Center was in the 60s.
There you go.
But yeah, like I said, that one was kind of...
Yeah, because I was there for Breaking Ground.
Oh, geez, whatever.
Yeah. Sometimes it gets a little weird like that, but...
The funny thing is, the parents were in an uproar about the Three Stooges. Then they were in an uproar over Looney Tunes. What rattles their cage now that causes them to go ballistic? Any ideas?
Everything. I mean...
Everything. Last week, it was Paw Patrol. Because one of the little dogs in there is a cop, and they wanted the show canceled. So it's kind of weird. Sometimes you don't know what's going to set them off. And I don't know. I think if you want your kid to know a good version of a cop and a cop that always does the right thing, then the little Paw Patrol dog is the good example.
That seems like it would be a good place to start, right? Because they're going to put the most sanitized version of anything they can find in there anyway.
Right.
So, right, that would, I mean, you build the character to be a
and
good role model.
I never saw Chase put Ryder in a headlock, so he's a good cop.
Right.
But yeah, it's always weird what. And then when they come out and they're outraged, it's like, really? Maybe I need to read that again or see that again or I didn't get that.
And most likely they're outraged about something that's totally unrelated.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, also nostalgia becomes a powerful force in all of this because, I mean, ultimately we're biased because we don't want what we knew and loved to change.
Yeah, because if you look at Disney Plus offers a multitude of films. Is that correct?
Oh, Lord, yeah. Gajillions.
Okay. Yet, my understanding is you cannot find a copy of Song of the South.
No.
And the problem I have with that is that was a groundbreaking movie.
Mm-hmm. A lot of firsts.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I remember seeing it when I was young. And I found out about Brer Rabbit, Brer Bear, Brer Fox.
Born
And
and
then
raised
all of
in
a
the
sudden,
Briar Patch.
you can't find it.
Mm-mm. I hadn't seen that show until I watched Savannah Smiles.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells her that story, and she's like, born and raised in the briar patch. And I had to, I was like, where's that from? So
Well,
I didn't see the Song of the South until after.
It's real hard to find now.
Mm-hmm. And, I realize a lot of things have not aged well. And why don't...
Well, thanks.
Well,
Wow.
you know what I mean. Not you, but the
Yeah,
shows.
sick burn
Why
night on the
not?
podcast. I'm just saying.
Why not put a warning on those? You know, this was made during a time when we weren't, what's the word, culturally sensitive.
That's probably as good a way of putting it as any.
Yeah.
Well, I know they do that on some films. I know the Charlie Chan collection I have. I mean, there's like a notice right in the front talking about something along those lines. It was filmed at a time that was, it's not as culturally sensitive,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word. So yeah, they could do that because they have done that.
And then make it once again your choice. Do you want to see this or
The problem is if they put it out there, someone's going to complain.
yeah?
Yeah.
Disney don't like that.
Right, and it may be enough people that lawsuits will be involved, and that's ultimately what they're trying to avoid.
Yeah.
So just because there's going to be a few people that are going to be so upset and raise hell, not just a lawsuit, but just a PR thing too, because they'll go to the media and go, oh my God, look at this, look what they're doing. This is a company that suppostly is promoting family entertainment, and here's this, and you go, well, okay.
Right. Yeah, and
So, well, any final thoughts, let's say, regarding Bugs Bunny and Looney Tune classics before we take a break?
Nah, just really watch the classics. I think Cartoon Network, when I was watching them on Monday, they have the non-modified version of those, so I would recommend you watching them there before you watch them like on HBO. Some of our characters do look a little different too.
I bet. Yeah, the collections I've got were from I want to say 10, 15 years ago, and they're called Looney Tunes Golden Collections, and they've got them. They are the versions on there are pretty much unchanged. They did some digital mastering, and there are actually some really old ones that they've got kind of in like archive type settings in on those discs as well that get really interesting. Some old historical stuff. So there were, if you can track them down, I don't know if they're still really selling them, but if you can track them down, they're pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. On that note, we'll go ahead and take a break and come back with our weekly picks. Welcome back. It's time for our weekly picks, and as you're aware, if you've been listening for the last couple of months, so what we've been doing while the new shipments are slowly getting back into the stores, what we've been doing is we would pick a new title, and then we would also pick a title that you might have missed, or we just want to present to you as something you should check out. So with that being said, Liz leads off this week.
All right. I'm going to start off with the new stuff. And this is actually not so new, but it's new in trade. So it's the Oz, the Complete Collection, Ozma and Dorothy and the Wizard. This was actually, it was set after Frank Baum's Oz books. Of course, it's got Scotty Young. This was actually done about 4 years before he did I Hate Fairyland. So I loved this because it kind of captured the kookiness and everything else, which really set the tone for I Hate Fairyland, which I always thought was kind of like a weird, twisted Oz kind of thing anyways. So this does take 2 series. The first series was Dorothy and the Wizard in Oz, and there was 8 issues in that, and then it also will collect Ozma of Oz, and there was also 8 issues in that one. So you get 16 issues in this trade, and it will tell you the complete Oz storyline, which, like I said, I always thought it was kind of cute and kooky. So definitely check this one out.
Nice.
I like the sound of that.
Yep, sounds like fun.
Yeah. Alrighty, Mikey.
Okie dokie. My new pick this week is from Vault Comics. And this one, I did not know this was coming, and I spotted this, and I'm like, oh man, I want to see this. This is awesome. Because what they've gotten hold apparently of the license for Vampire the Masquerade, and so this is issue 1 of a Vampire the Masquerade comic series called Winter's Teeth, and I've been gaming just long enough to know a little bit about Vampire, and it was a role-playing game back in the late 80s, early 90s that kind of turned the role-playing industry on its head a little bit, and so it's like dark, gothic, moody stuff, and very what at the I mean, this is the way a lot of goth kids got into role playing, and so I'm in. I want to see what they're going to do with this. I am dying to know, especially given some of the names involved. I mean, you've got Tim Seeley and Teenie Howard on this, and so among others, and so this is going to be a lot of fun, I think.
Sounds good.
Sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, very nice. Okay, I am next, and for my new title pick for this week, it's the first issue of a miniseries that is from Dark Horse Comics that is adapting the original screenplay for the movie Alien. Need I say more? I'm very curious to read the original screenplay, because I know there was some big changes, and just reading the synopsis, it looks like I don't know what to think, because the synopsis says, en route back to the Earth, the crew of the starship Snark intercepts an alien transmission. Their investigation leads them to a desolate planetoid, a crashed alien spacecraft, and a pyramidic structure of unknown origin. Then the terror begins. And I'm like, okay, what pyramidic structure? I don't remember that in what we eventually got. But so I'm very curious to see how things deviate from the original screenplay to the finished film. So I'm very curious, and I love the original Alien, and I loved Aliens. I love both those films, so I'm just ready for this.
Yep, I'm down.
I'm ready for this too.
Alrighty, Les, you are next.
Okay, my first choice comes from Antarctic Press. Patriotica is a new series, and according to this, the goddess Athena is coming to Earth to save it from invaders out of myth. But the very power that she brandishes is sapping the life out of her. So she must find a human, and she picks a scrawny college student named Aaron to take over her body. And for this, they are able to transform into the mighty Patriotica to fight the gods and monsters. I'm interested because it is Antarctic Press, and I'm feeling that this is going to be one of their bigger titles coming up.
Yep. That one did look pretty good.
Sounds like it's got an interesting kind of throwback flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Nice.
Very nice. Alrighty, Liz, you're up again.
All right. Now for the old. Out with the new, in with the old.
Thanks.
I picked this week Scooby-Doo team-ups. If you haven't picked these up before, they usually have some pretty good combos. Usually there's a big star with the team. Goodness, I say big star. Okay, let me start over. They usually team up with a big name in another comic. There's been Zatanna, there's been Harley Quinn, Alien Manhunter, and they're really cute stories. Usually they're short. When you get I can't even say that. Phil makes fun of the way I say that all the time. Volume. It's usually got about 6 stories in it, I believe. There's quite a few volumes out so far, so if you're into Scooby-Doo, like I said, it takes you back to the the Scooby-Doo team-up hour that they used to have with Hanna-Barbera hour.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely cute. There's usually some really interesting team-ups in here, stories that you really wouldn't see those people normally doing. So definitely check it out. If you like Scooby, you'll definitely like these. And I guarantee you, if you have a favorite comic hero, look at the different ones, and I'm sure you will find it with them teaming up with Scooby. I don't know of too many that they haven't teamed up with yet. So,
yeah, the team-ups have been interesting because, they'll also team up with some of the other Hanna-Barbera characters I remember, like with Adamant and stuff like that. But they did make some interesting choices, because I remember one of them being with the Challengers of the Unknown, and like that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. And Les, wasn't it? Didn't they do one with Sugar and Spike? Wasn't that correct, or was it Angel and the Ape?
I thought it was Sugar and Spike.
It may be Sugar and Spike, which, I mean, that's a deep cut. That was a book from the 60s that they've had a couple of miniseries, like one in the 80s and the 90s, but that's one that doesn't really get that's a duo that you really don't hear or see much about. So, I mean, like, that was very surprising. So,
yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. They made some interesting choices on the team-ups, but from the issues that I've read, they've been fun reads. So,
they have.
Yeah.
And it's never feels like a forced team-up either.
Yeah.
It's almost as good as the crossover they did on Supernatural.
Wow.
Or Johnny Bravo.
Yeah, that one was good.
And we're how far into the show when this came out?
We almost got through. We almost
We
got
almost-
through
You know.
without a supernatural reference.
We were that close.
So close.
Would it really be a show without one?
Obviously not. No matter how hard we try to have one, it just wouldn't.
Yeah. Which they start recording in August, so yay!
Cool. August is very soon.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is very soon.
Very soon.
As the French say, très soon.
Well, by the time this drops, it will be August. So
Right.
yeah, it's going to be pretty damn soon. Yeah.
Extremely soon. Yeah.
So, okay, for my old pick,
You're gonna skip me again, huh?
No, yeah, I'm going to skip you again.
We don't want to know what your pick is.
Oh, my pick.
Wow.
My pick sucks.
We'll just skip straight to Les. Les?
Let's just pick them all, and we'll be all.
I'm
okay.
just ready to get this episode over.
Obviously, yeah. I don't blame you at this point. We
Yeah.
kinda
I'm
all
not
are.
treading on your toes, buddy. You go ahead and pick.
Okay.
Make it good.
It better. Well, fortunately, it is good. It's awesome. My pick is from Abstract Studios. This is Terry Moore's studio, and the book I'm picking is his most recent book, which is called 5 Years. If you've been around this show any amount of time, we've talked about this kind of ad nauseum, but by golly, it's that good. This is kind of Terry Moore's crossover event in its own way. I mean, it's not. I mean, all of his characters are pretty much in the same world anyway, so them crossing over is not really that big a deal. But this is several of his heroes teaming up to stop the construction of an apocalyptic weapon by basically all of the major governments in the world. And the second and final volume of this book is coming out right about now. So my suggestion is go back and pick up the first volume as well. Get them both, read them. They are good. They are really good.
I agree.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Is that good enough?
Mm-hmm. That was good enough.
Wow.
I'll approve.
Okay, good.
Well, we'll just skip me. Go ahead, Les.
No, I'm not doing that.
Come on, Les. Your turn.
It's not my turn.
Okay, I guess I'll go then. My choice is, there's 3 volumes. This collection called Dark Arc from Aftershock Comics. This is another one that we have discussed on the podcast before. This is a story of a sorcerer who's been commanded to build an ark just in time for the great flood, and he is tasked to save all the unnatural creatures or monsters of the world. And this is a story of what happens while they're surviving the great flood. And this is taking place at the same time, obviously, when Noah in his ark with all the animals, the pairs of animals, are. So it was a really, really good story. And there's actually a sequel going on right now. It's called I believe it's called After the Flood or After the Rain.
I think it was After the Flood.
After the Flood, that's going on right now. I think we're 2 or 3 issues in on that one as well. So yeah, definitely check this one out. It was a great read.
Yep, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, Les.
Now I get to... Okay. I am going to bring up After the Cape from Image Studios. This is a 2-volume set that addresses the 6 issues in the series. It's about a superhero that has a problem with alcoholism. He is banished from the superhero group. He turns to a life of crime, robbing banks to get his money. He tells his wife that everything is fine, that he just gets a raise at work. But then there are situations where he must confront the superhero group that is trying to take him down, to a group of thieves that try to use he and his power to pull off huge jobs. And the story is so good that the second volume really gets going fast. You find out his situation to lead to the second book, and that story just picks up a lot of speed. And they finish it, and of course you sit there and go, okay, now I need the third chapter. But the writing duo had decided, no, we're going to just stop it here, which makes good sense in this also. So I recommend this one. It is 10, 15 years old now, but it is really well done, and it's something to track down for your library. It doesn't deal all that much with superheroes, and it makes the characters real with the alcoholism and how they cope. So I'm putting this one forward for your edification.
Cool. Sounds interesting.
Yeah,
It does.
Definitely. Yeah. Alrighty. Oh boy, we got a lot of special mentions this week, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Who would like to start off?
I will jump in with Olivia De Havilland.
Yeah.
Because I can't say. I don't think anybody's going to say this was unforeseen. She was 104 years old.
Right.
True.
But man, she's one of the ones who did her best to do it on her own terms, and she did it well for a long time. So.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Part of me found it funny when I started reading the articles about her passing. And one of the things it first mentions is that she was like she was the surviving, the sole cast member alive from Gone with the Wind. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I mean that makes sense. And of course, you're mentioning Gone with the Wind because of being a best-selling novel, and it was a really Academy Award-winning movie and all that kind of stuff. But I'm thinking it's like, but there's 2 or 3 other movies that you could say that for. The first thing I thought of was The Adventures of Robin Hood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because she was Maid Marian.
Yep.
And of course that led to several films where she was teamed up with Errol Flynn, and it was a good team up. They did have some good chemistry there. So it was not surprising, but it's still sad and just so that's a bad one.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other shout outs?
I'm going to bring up Peter Green, singer-songwriter and guitarist, and passed away at the age of 73.
Yeah.
He was a founding member of Fleetwood Mac and was known for several of the songs that they produced, including Black Magic Woman and Man of the World. So my thoughts go out to him and prayers to his family, because it is pretty tragic to see something like that go, somebody like that go.
Yeah. Liz, did you want to mention one?
No. You guys have mentioned the ones I knew about.
Okay. We also lost John Saxon, actor. Probably best known from, I saw everybody mentioning Enter the Dragon, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, the original Black Christmas, so many other films. It was funny because when that came down, and of course I started seeing the list, the first thing I thought of was his role as Louis Chama in Joe Kidd, the Clint Eastwood Western that also starred Robert Duvall. He was really good in that. Well, it was a good movie. I liked the movie. So I think he was kind of an underrated actor.
Yep, I thought so. And I mean, he I think a lot of times he did good work in maybe not so great movies too.
Yeah.
I think he did a lot of stuff that as the films just don't get recognized that much because maybe they weren't so hot. But
right,
he did some really good work though.
Yeah, agreed. I'll go ahead and do the other one. We also lost Regis Philbin this previous weekend. Obviously, the host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. That's where a lot of people might remember him. Besides his morning talk show with was original with Kathy Lee, and then it was later with
Ripa.
Kelly Ripa. Yeah. Something I've heard references over the years, but I would really love to see was he was the sidekick to Joey Bishop when Joey Bishop had a talk show, and it was trying to I guess they were trying to compete with Johnny Carson. Was this correct?
Yes.
And of course, those aren't shown anywhere. I would love to see those.
That would be interesting. That would be interesting.
Because he was essentially the Ed McMahon of that show, so it would have been cool to see that. I don't know if they're on YouTube or not. I haven't looked, but probably go check that out. So. But
yeah, another guy who's been around a long time.
Yeah.
And did a lot of good work.
All right. Any other special mentions or shout outs?
No, I don't think so.
No. I think that was enough, honestly. When all this was coming down, I was going, oh, hell, come on, please, just stop.
Right, give us a break. Jeez.
Yeah. So, okay, we'll go ahead to our regular shout outs. First of all, I want to shout out Pop Goes to Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be part of a great group of podcasters. Definitely check them out. We'll have a link in the show notes. Thank you guys, as always, for your support. And we also want to thank the support of the Podern family on Twitter for sharing our links. Definitely want you to check out some of their work. And the easiest way to do that is to go to Twitter and do a search, #PodernFamily, one word, and just scroll through whatever catches your attention. By all means, click on that link, download the episode, and I hope you have fun listening to that episode. Thank you guys for your support. Also want to thank Maddie the Martyr for supplying the music to our podcast. There will be a link in our show notes for you to check out their music. Thank you guys as always. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We do appreciate your support, and we value your feedback. If you have a comment, question, observation, complaint, suggestion, what have you, please contact us. There are several ways you can do that. Our email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Or you can go to the website and click on the About Us tab, and there's a contact form there that you can fill out. And while you're there, you can click on the link to join our Discord, and you can contact us through there as well. We are on social media. On Facebook, we are The Fellowship of the Geeks. And obviously, we are on Twitter @Fellowship Geeks. Feel free to follow us there. If you'd like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found @MikeyGeek. Liz can be found @LN_geek. And I can be found @TomTCGeek. And from wherever you obtain our podcast, if you would be so kind as to rate and review our show, it would be greatly appreciated. Any thoughts before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you once again, everybody. We do appreciate your support as always. And until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook @The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter @Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,